The auditorium's lights flickered once and then dimmed, throwing the room into an uneasy silence. For a long moment, nothing happened, just the sound of someone coughing in the back row. The host stepped nervously to the microphone and whispered, "Our next performer, actually, no one signed up. Is there anyone brave enough?" The crowd laughed. Someone from the back shouted, "Just skip it." The host looked embarrassed, shuffling through the list of names again. It seemed like the night was about to end on a dull note. And then, from the shadows of the backstage curtain, two trembling figures appeared. Identical. Fragile. Hands locked together so tightly it looked as if letting go would shatter them. The audience stirred in surprise. Lily and Emma Carter. The Carter twins. Nobody had ever seen them on a stage before. At school, they were known as the Invisible Girls. Too shy to speak up in class, too quiet to make friends. They always sat at the back, their hair falling in front of their faces, their notebooks filled with doodles of guitars and song lyrics that no one else ever saw. "Are they serious?" someone whispered. The girls walked hesitantly toward the microphone. Lily carried an old acoustic guitar, its wood scratched and faded, the strings slightly rusted. Emma stood beside her, pale and trembling, her lips pressed together as if holding back tears. "Come on, don't waste our time," a boy in the crowd muttered. The twins heard it. Their faces flushed red. They looked at each other, silently asking the question they always asked when fear threatened to drown them, "Should we run?" But then, at the very back of the auditorium, they saw her, their mother. Dressed in her faded diner uniform, a tired smile on her face, her apron still stained with coffee from the evening shift. She had rushed straight from work just to be there. Her eyes said everything: "You can do this. For once in your life, believe in yourselves." Lily tightened her grip on the guitar. Emma stepped forward and leaned toward the microphone. And then it began. A soft strum. A fragile voice. On a dark desert highway. The first few lines of Hotel California drifted through the hall. The crowd, restless just a moment before, grew eerily still. The twins' voices, gentle, hesitant, blended together like silk. By the time they reached the chorus, their shyness melted away. Something powerful, something otherworldly, filled the room. The whispers stopped. The smirks vanished. One by one, students and parents pulled out their phones, recording the moment. Dozens of little glowing screens lit up, capturing the miracle unfolding in front of them. By the final verse, the audience was no longer just listening. They were feeling. Tears glistened in the eyes of teachers who had once overlooked the twins. Even the boy who had mocked them sat frozen, mouth slightly open, as if he couldn't believe what he was hearing. When the last chord faded, silence blanketed the hall. For 3 long seconds, no one moved. Then, as if a dam had broken, thunderous applause erupted. People leapt to their feet, clapping, whistling, cheering. The twins stood frozen, wide-eyed, tears in their eyes. For the first time in their lives, they weren't invisible. That night, one of their classmates uploaded the shaky phone recording to social media with the caption, "You won't believe what just happened at our school talent show." By morning, it had 1 million views. Within 48 hours, 10 million. The comments poured in from every corner of the world. "These girls healed something inside me I didn't even know was broken. Pure, raw talent, this is what music is meant to be. Angels must sound like this." Lily and Emma woke up to hundreds of messages on their phones. Their mother cried when she saw strangers writing things like, "Your daughters gave me hope." News outlets called. Talk shows invited them. Musicians sent messages of encouragement. But the one that shook them the most was an email from a war veteran in Texas. "I've struggled with nightmares and silence since coming home. Last night, for the first time in years, I slept peacefully after listening to your daughters sing. Please thank them for giving me hope." Their mother read it aloud, her voice breaking. Lily and Emma sat in stunned silence, realizing the truth: their music wasn't just about singing. It was about healing. About connection. Weeks later, the twins stood on a grand stage in New York City, invited to perform at a charity concert for families of fallen soldiers. The hall was massive, filled with thousands of people. Cameras flashed. Their knees shook. "Remember," their mother whispered backstage, "you don't have to sing for the world. Just sing for the one heart that needs it tonight." The curtain rose. Lily strummed the guitar. Emma's voice trembled into the first line. At first, their fear returned. But then they looked out and saw faces in the crowd, some smiling, some crying, some holding pictures of loved ones lost. And suddenly, the fear vanished. They weren't performing. They were giving. By the end of the song, the entire hall was on its feet, clapping through tears. Soldiers saluted. Mothers hugged their children. And the twins realized something that would change their lives forever: their gift wasn't about fame. It was about using their voices to touch lives, to remind people they weren't alone. Over the next year, the Carter twins traveled across the country, performing not at glamorous parties or celebrity events, but at hospitals, veterans' homes, shelters, and schools. They sang for children battling cancer, for soldiers haunted by memories, for lonely elders who hadn't smiled in years. Everywhere they went, something magical happened. People cried, people healed, people believed again. And the shy twins who once hid in the shadows discovered the truth about themselves: they weren't invisible. They were beacons. One night, after a performance at a children's hospital, a little girl with tubes in her nose whispered, "When I grow up, I want to be just like you." Emma bent down, tears streaming, and said, "No, sweetheart. You'll be even braver. Because you already are." A year later, they were invited back to their hometown, to the same high school auditorium where it all began. This time, the hall was overflowing, people from across the state had come to see them. Before they began, Lily took the microphone. Her voice shook. "A year ago, we walked on this stage terrified. We thought nobody saw us. We thought we didn't matter. But because of all of you, we found the courage to share our voices. And we learned something important: no matter how small you feel, your gift, your heart, can change the world." Then she looked at her mother in the front row, tears streaming down her face, and whispered, "This is for you." They began to sing. And once again, the world fell silent to listen. The shy twin girls proved that even the quietest souls carry gifts powerful enough to touch millions. They reminded the world that kindness, vulnerability, and authenticity are the true languages of humanity. And that when we find the courage to share who we really are, we may discover that the world was waiting all along to listen. They were no longer the invisible girls. They were voices of hope. And their song still echoes in the hearts of millions.